congratulations if you've been selected by the London Wellness Academy. I can't tell you enough, or stress enough rather, on how much of a great opportunity you are about to encounter. And if you're just watching, maybe just interested in actually entering, stay tuned. You will definitely learn a lot. Hello everyone, thank you so much for tuning in, and if you're new here, please subscribe. My name is Olorato Mukate, aka the aspiring rich aunt who is here to give you what you want, baby. And what I just want is for you to subscribe. We are on the road to 200, I almost said 1,000 in God's ears. My words go. So it will happen one day. But 200 subscribers, let's make it happen, guys. I need to get some smaller. My London Wellness Academy experience, or as I like to call it, the law experience, was phenomenal. One of a kind, definitely. It had its ups and downs, but definitely it made it all more worthwhile. I will say, some of this information I wish someone had told me prior. Hence, I was motivated to make this video so that it can help one of you out there. So for those of you who might not know what I'm talking about, I am talking about a beautiful cruise ship experience where you get to be an employee of One Spa World. However, you still have to go through London Wellness Academy, where you will be trained and prepared so that when you hop on board, you know everything and are ready to work. Basically, you have a contract with One Spa World for a period or a duration of a little longer than 9 months. I'm saying this because sometimes your contract, although by default it's supposed to be for 9 months, however sometimes there can be a delay of the next person joining, therefore you might have to just stay an extra week or 2 or 3. So definitely it's not 9 months, but it's just a little over 9 months. Not saying that you're not gonna go home in 9 months, but you just need to prepare yourself mentally that I might not go within that stipulated 9 months. A day-to-day of a One Spa World employee includes having to work 14-hour shift. With that 14 hours, 2 hours is for your meal times, and the rest of the 12 hours you are on your feet working. There's a number of positions in the spa in itself, including manager, assistant manager, receptionist, med spa doctor, acupuncture doctor, hairstylist, massage therapist, ionitherapist, and facialist. Oh, we also have nail techs. Oh, and lastly, how can I forget fitness? Sorry guys, brain fog. I'm basing this off of my experience. Please don't say that it's the same for everyone, and please don't take what I tell you and think, oh, it's going to be exactly the same, or it's just you don't want to do it anymore because you feel like that's too much for you, because it could be different. There are different sizes of ships, so that means that you might get a smaller ship, or you might get a bigger ship, and luck, honestly, and fate determines where you'll go and how the people there will be. I've compiled a great summary of the good and the bad that I've experienced myself at London Wellness Academy. So we will be starting with the positives. The first positive, obviously, you are going there to make money. It is the most rewarding work ever, because at least you know that all that hard work, all that sweat that you put into those 9 months, you will definitely make your money. Like, you earn in dollars, so if you convert the dollars that you earn to South African rands, it's already a plus. And on top of that, you earn per cruise. So your cruise can vary from 2 days, 4 days, 7 days, 14 days. So you will earn per cruise, meaning that the number of people or treatments that you do within that cruise, that's going to be your salary for the next week or the next 2 weeks. That's the great thing, because let's say for instance, if your cruise is every 4 days, that means every 4 days you have the potential of making new money and more money and more money, meaning that you earn every 4 days or weekly, because they base it on a weekly basis if it's like that, which is amazing, guys. Like, imagine just money entering your account every week. Like, there's so much that you end up saving a whole lot of money that can actually change your life here in South Africa, meaning that you can buy yourself a car, you can finish off your debts, you can start maybe building somewhere, like with low rates of course, or you can even get that property that you've been eyeing. So many opportunities. What I decided to do was start my own business here at home. That was the motivation anyway of going to One Spa World. The next positive is that you don't spend on basic expenses. What I mean by that, you don't have any rent to pay. You don't have to worry about transport. Your only transport is the elevator, which could be stressful on vacation days. If you know, you know. And then the other thing is, you don't spend on groceries because your food is right there. You are served a buffet every single day. But we'll come to that. Another wonderful thing is that you get to travel the world. I mean, what if that is not your number one reason? What is? Like, you get to actually travel the world. Well, depending on your ship again. Some ships are amazing. You get to actually travel. They actually go all around the world. So within your 9 months, you'll find that you go all around the world, literally. And then some ships, unfortunately, they have their set schedule of just doing this routine ports. So for instance, you're going to just be going from Miami to the Bahamas and Caribbeans, and then come back Miami, Cabanas, Caribbeans, Miami, Cabanas for that whole 9 months. So it could be for 6 months or even lesser or more, depending on the ship, like I mentioned. However, I was lucky enough that I was on the Anthem of the Seas in 2023 to 2024. So I got to experience some Europe, and I also got to experience some of the American states and islands. So I got to Caribbean islands, I got to go to Bahama Islands, and I got to go to one of the most beautiful islands in Europe, including your Madeira, including your Canary Islands. Like, all of them are so amazing. So it's a wonderful experience where you get to see the world, see other cultures, and live your best life. With that being said, there is a short duration per port when you're on a port, and this could also mean that you are working on that day and therefore you can't necessarily get off to explore and enjoy the port. Because you are an employee, you are required to get on board back before the guests do get on board. So your time is usually much more limited. However, you can honestly still do a lot with the time that you get. For instance, I was able to see Atlantis. I was able to visit so many places within that short durations that I've gotten. You just have to prioritize what you want to see, and also always make sure that if you're going to be using a taxi or whatever, you always have transport to come back on time. Otherwise, bye-bye career on board. And then another thing is that sometimes the port might be extremely exciting. Like for instance, you stopped in Bordeaux, I believe, then you get to travel to Paris. So that's like a 4-hour trip, just 2 hours to travel to Paris, 2 hours to travel back to Bordeaux, I believe. Please, I forgot. And then you obviously want to spend some time in Paris. You can't just say, hi Paris, and then leave. So let's say for instance you have 6 hours that you want to spend in that port. The good news is that you can earn incentives that you can use. So your incentives, you earn them by working and meeting your target, meeting a certain number of retail, like depending on what the manager wants from you. So if you earn those incentives, that means you can get time off or more hours off, so that you can actually enjoy the port that you want specifically. Or you need to make sure that you are working hard. You're working very hard on that cruise so that you can actually qualify to be off on that port. So the harder you work, honestly, and the more effort you put, the more it's recognized, the more you'll be able to get away with your favorite ports, and also get away with more time to spend outside. Another wonderful thing that I've experienced traveling on board was meeting a whole lot of people with different cultures, ethnicities, different parts of the world. Like, you get to meet a whole lot and learn a whole lot about other people as well, and myself. So whether it's your guests that you're working on, or your colleagues, or just other people on the cruise ship, there's always a great opportunity, and a lot of them as well, where you get to meet other people and build beautiful relationships. Luckily for me, I met some amazing, wonderful women from South Africa, and we had our whole own little community of the South Africans on board. That was the greatest thing that could have ever happened to me, because on days where you missed home, or it's like a holiday at home, we would still obviously remind each other and celebrate it nonetheless. Or it was good as well for, like, if you're not keeping up with what's happening in South Africa, someone will always be keeping up, and then you'll be informed of what's happening currently in South Africa. Back to the point of me saying that you learn a whole lot about yourself as well, is you are definitely like just taken out of your comfort zone. So there is no way you will go to London Wellness Academy. There's no way where you'll work for One Spa World and not come out more confident. I disagree completely. You will build that confidence, and it is the most liberating thing ever that I could have ever experienced in my life. I never thought I could exude such confidence, but with London Wellness Academy, oh my god, that was the best thing that they have ever made me do. Is become more confident, honestly. Like, with that, especially if you are in this somatology industry still, or beauty industry, your sales will increase, because there's always ongoing lectures of how you can improve on retail, the quality of your treatments. Oh my gosh, what you take from One Spa World and bring it back home, like, you become a snob in the spa industry because of how high your standards will be. and how high your quality of a treatment will be, because like they do so much, we do so much on board that when you come back it's like, he did this, oh ew. But it's great though, because some people, some employers back home will notice how much of a beautiful standard you have, or how much of a brilliant standard you have, and they want to definitely incorporate you into their business. So you can become a manager, you can become one of, obviously, the best employees they could have because of your retail experience, your confidence, and your standards. Another thing is that you also take grooming seriously, so you're always looking your best, like always looking your best. Sure, there are some days where like you could be sick, or you could be like really fatigued, but you know that you always need to look your best. That unfortunately is a deal breaker. You need to look your best. You need to be well groomed. Like when you're going through the training, they'll check your nails, they'll check your makeup, they'll check your hair on a daily basis. These were things that were checked on a daily basis. They even check how you smell. They don't necessarily smell you, but if you have a certain odor, you will be informed of it, unfortunately. The other thing is the HR there, like the HR there couldn't be more amazing. There's a lot of entertainment for the employees on cruise ships. Like there's a lot of entertainment. I think it's always to just increase and boost our morale, because we are working far from home for long duration of months. So there's always entertainment for the employees, which is a great way to connect with other people, and a great way to also just ease your mind and forget about the worries of work. The negatives is that unfortunately you are in a high stress working environment. Like the stress is a lot, and for some people it could be overbearing. However, it's just a matter of learning how to manage it, and still meditating, still exercising, still doing the things that you like even traveling or going outside when you're on your day off. That could definitely reduce your stress. The things that could actually contribute to your stress include reaching your target, making sure that you are maximizing those guests. So some cruises, unfortunately, it could be a little bit slow, and that could be really stressful for you. And then it also depends on what position you are in. Like for instance, as inithermists, we had like online calls, virtual calls or virtual meetings on a weekly basis. So this was to keep you on your toes, and unfortunately it was stressful. So as mentioned, you stress about reaching your target and everything. And then another thing that could be stressful is your manager. Your senior managers have high expectations of you, and with that high expectation that they have of you, some might honestly be the worst nightmare. Like just how they work in general could be like one of your biggest nightmares. So you could have like literally an enemy for a manager, someone who's against you, someone who's always pushing you down, and you have to work over that. You have to try and conquer, even though you have someone so negative in such a position, in a senior position than you, who can basically control your life and make it a living hell. I unfortunately had to experience that. But the great news is that probably you'll have 2, 3 or 4 managers in your whole contract. So it doesn't matter if you're having that nightmare manager for the time being. Probably is not going to be forever. So you just have to remember what you're there for and then push through with it. Another negative for me would be the mental deterioration. You're there for 9 months. At least some other employees on board have like 6 months or 4-month contracts, but I believe ours is the longest, which is a whole 9 months on board. Within that 9 months, you're missing your family, you're missing your loved ones, your friends. You left them all here at home, and you can barely communicate or connect with them because of how busy your schedule is, or how long your days are, or even network, or how expensive maybe the data is. You're trying to save off of data. For instance, I myself would have to spend $5 for 1 hour of a data. So within that 1 hour, that's when I could go on social media, which is your Instagrams and everything, and then this is where I would be able to video call. This can obviously take a toll on you because you can't communicate as frequently as you'd love with your family and loved ones. That's why hence it's important to have also a great, strong community on board, so that on days that are really rough, they are there to just keep you going and help you getting through those difficult days. Like, I cannot stress enough how much of a beautiful community I had, and that was just my first contract. But without them, I'm not sure that I would have lasted the whole 9 months. Yes, I am driven on myself, but like I mentioned, the mental deterioration is real. It's a real thing. So definitely, it can be really difficult to actually finish off your 9-month contract. Your diet is also limited because I mentioned earlier that there is a buffet that you eat every day, but in this buffet it's quite limited, especially depending on what ship you're on. It could be like limited in terms of certain nationalities' foods. For instance, ours had a lot of Asian foods. They only introduced South African pap and chagalaga like only not long after my contract, but at the end of my contract basically. So there is, on a day-to-day, sometimes you might just walk around and just see all of those options and still find nothing to eat. It could be that kind of a thing, or you just end up eating your bread with peanut butter and jelly. I used to gel with that, and I used to also gel with eating mash and chicken breast. That was my go-to meals, and with a salad on the side. So with that, it could be actually beneficial if you want to keep fit and you want to keep your body intact, because you barely eat for 2 hours in a day, and obviously you don't want to spend all of your hour in the cafeteria eating. So you eat whatever is most convenient as quick as possible, and then you get to rest or get to do whatever else you want to do within that 1 hour. So it's really limited, but there are benefits to it as well, being limited. And then another thing is that, you're on a cruise ship. Of course you're going to want to experience it, right? There's restaurants on cruise on board. So yes, you can eat at that restaurant, but it is limited to which dates that you can eat. And then it depends on if there's a lot of people. So for instance, you have to book a spot at a restaurant, and then it will tell you that it seems like we're having a lot of people today. Maybe not today, no, come today, maybe come tomorrow. Then you'll just have to do with it, whether it's your birthday, whether it's something special that you're celebrating. You just have to do with it, or go to another restaurant. With the food at the restaurants, the only one I liked was this other particular one called Izumi in Royal Caribbean. That's my favorite out of all of them, because everything else, to be quite honest, you get to still experience the food as like leftovers. I know, as leftovers in the cafeteria sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. However, with Izumi, the sushi was great. The spring rolls, I still dream of them. Oh my gosh. So another negative is the position that you're in could actually be a negative. For instance, if you're a massage therapist, then you are swimming in money. Like, you are swimming in money by the end of your contract. But for me, as a IME therapist, yes, I was getting a lot of money, significantly a lot of money than I was before. However, if you compare that money to what other positions were making, then you would see that you were more or less kind of the bottom of the barrel. But it's not a negative, because at the very least you're still making way more money than you could have ever made at home. So trust me, you might feel it in the moment, but you honestly don't have to, because you're still making a lot of money. So one thing you should really be exercising at the time is gratitude, that you are in at least a position where you are able to earn as much as you're earning. You don't have to compare it with anyone, because comparison is thief of joy. Apart from everything that I've said, I don't think there's anything that I've left out. You're going to have a wonderful, wonderful contract. I give you all of those blessings. If you feel like I've left anything out, let's say for instance you yourself were a therapist on board, be sure to write it down in the comment section so that we can help other people who are looking forward to going on board. And if you have any questions, definitely ask away in the comment section. However, if you just love this video, give it a nice thumbs up and subscribe if you want to become of the Aspiring Rich Aunts family. Let's aspire to be rich. But for now, I have to love and leave you. Please remember to spread love. Love yourselves like I love myself, because I realize I got in myself. That's all I got in the end. That's what I found out.